Our annual visit to one of our favorites has been for several years now, and this is Lake Hills in St. John, Indiana. How was 2013?
Oh, it was good. I mean, this one is always excellent. Lake Hills, I mean, they put on a really great haunted house. I mean, they have elaborate sets. They get really good actors. I mean, they get the people that they get in there. I mean, they do a really good job. They enjoy what they're doing, give you some good scares. I really, like I said, I really enjoyed it this time. I've enjoyed every year, but like I said, there were a couple scenes. They got me really good in there. There was the saw guy on the tricycle, and there was like an animated dog that came out and barking, and I'm looking at that. Next thing you know, like a Jason type figure with the hockey mask comes out with a chainsaw after me. Wasn't it a chainsaw?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was a chainsaw. Anyway, just it scared me because I mean I didn't expect that. One thing I do have to say, however, I mean, I'm not faulting the haunt. The haunt is excellent. I look forward to it every year. I will keep going back because I mean it's one of my favorites. But 2 years ago, we went and Michael Myers was in there, and he was like near the beginning of the haunt, and I mean, it was really creepy because he kept like he'd appear and then he'd disappear and then he'd be back and he'd be in front of us and then he'd be gone, then he'd be behind us. I mean, and then there was like one of those the vortex, is that what you call it, the where it spins and there's the you have to walk across, and there was a clown in front of me, and then Michael Myers is on the other side, and of course I'm stuck on this on the crosswalk to get across, and of course I get dizzy. I have to look down when I go through those. So here I am stuck between the clown, she wouldn't let me pass, and Michael Myers, which I mean this just made it a fantastic haunt, and he is great when he's inside the actual haunted house. But the last couple of years, like this year, they had him like outside working the crowd and taking tickets, which was not a good use for him because I mean he's so effective. It was a creepiness factor that this haunt had in the past. Just some people might not be afraid of him. I mean, I know he kind of he creeps me out, but just the whole factor, he appears, disappears, appears again. That is a great effect. I mean, something that is a great effect of a haunt because you don't know when he's gonna pop up next. Where the last 2 years, like this year, he was outside, and then the year before he was out in the parking lot. And then the cool effect on that was when we came out, there's a little cemetery with fog, creepy feeling, and when we came outside, he was standing in the cemetery just like watching. And this Michael Myers, I mean, if it's the same person that does it, I mean, he's like the right build, right height. I mean, he's got his walk and his movements down with the head. He does, I mean, he's like the guy in the movie, the original Halloween. I mean, the actor's got it down pat. He's fantastic as Michael Myers. So, like I said, that was the one thing I did miss. 5 chainsaw, I'll get it right. 5 chainsaw haunt. But I'm going to take a half a chainsaw off this year just because I missed Michael Myers in the house. But it is still a 5. I recommend it. I loved it. I will go back again. But please, please, if you're watching Lake Hills, people, please have him in the house next year because it really makes a big difference. I mean, it's like just the creepiness factor.
So is it a 5 chainsaw haunt or is it a 4.5 chainsaw
Well,
haunt?
it's a 5. It's a 5. It's just...
So you're not really taking a half a chainsaw off that you just said you were doing.
Well, okay. That's still a 5. It's just it takes a...
It's a 5 minus half a chainsaw.
Right, 5
All
minus
right,
half a
there
chainsaw.
we go.
There you go.
Lake Hills is one of those that has become an annual favorite of ours. Everybody likes it for different reasons. Laura likes it for Michael Myers, and I do too. 2011 was one of, I think, probably our top Michael Myers moment that we've ever had in a haunt. In all the haunts that we've been to, we've had a lot of Michael Myers moments, and that one, I can't even tell you how good that was. Not just the scares, but there was a point where he was following us. We had 3 teenage girls attached to us. They were almost surgically implanted on our backs and fronts because they were afraid to go through it by themselves, so we were in this train, okay? And Michael Myers zoomed right in on them. But there was a scene where we came up to a nursery, and there were demon babies in this nursery. And he was following us through the whole thing. He stopped what he was doing, and he looked at the nursery window and let us go and just cocked his head to the side like this, as if trying to figure out what those babies were that were in there. I mean,
he did the Michael Myers move. Yeah,
he didn't have to do that. He stopped scaring us. Nobody was watching him do that. I mean, these 3 girls that were with us, they certainly weren't watching him do that. They were happy to be free from being victimized. But I saw him do it, and it just was great. It's stuff
Stayed in
like that.
character.
I mean,
Yeah, it was like something out of the movie.
And it wasn't even being done for us. It was like something he'd do if nobody was there. But nevertheless, he wasn't in there this year. But Lake Hills has a great atmosphere on the outside. It's an old clubhouse on a former golf course, and it looks old and abandoned, and they use that to great effect. Old floors, old staircases, grimy walls, ceilings that are kind of falling apart. All that stuff is used to great effect. And the actors are good. Mostly young kids in there, and they're really, really really good. This year there was a crazy guy climbing on the walls. Some psycho guy who was climbing on the walls and talking to you, asking you to stay with him and stuff. Just clever stuff. Not in your face. Just weird babbling, which is really a lot of fun. My favorite scene this year was a funeral scene. Walked in, and there's this hooded guy who points to an empty coffin. He opens the lid, and he's sort of inviting you to occupy this coffin. Doesn't say anything at all. And of course, there was a zombie in the pew, too. He was an extra added bonus. But this hooded guy, it's stuff like that, the creepiness factor that ups it for you. Always liked Lake Hills. Always enjoy it. It's a 5-star for me. 5 chainsaw, I should say. I will agree with Laura, though, and say, please put Michael Myers in The Haunt. I know he's a roaming character and he goes around, but he's so good in there. So good in there. But we still love it.